sit in any way that feels best to you. Nice and tall through the spine. Take a moment to turn your gaze low or close your eyes. As you close your eyes, bring attention and awareness to your breath. Every inhale, every exhale, nurturing the next. And in fact, nurture is our word of the day. As I get to share this practice with the little one that I nurture every day, and I get to share the practice today with my mom who nurtured me. So seeing how this practice can act in the same way. Sometimes it's a little bit of tough love. Sometimes we just need the ease, the snuggles, and the hugs. Make sure your practice lets you ebb and flow between the two to stay as balanced as possible. Tuck the chin down to the chest. Rock the head from side to side. Go into a full circle if that nurtures you, or keep the rock side to side. If you're doing full head rolls, take two nice and slow to one direction, and then switch to the opposite direction. Keep the chin down to the chest now. Take both hands behind your head and push your head a bit up into the hands so it feels held. That nice stretch down the back of the spine and a strengthening, stabilizing element from the front side of the body as you pull the navel in towards the spine. Another breath there, and as we let it go, release the hands, lift the head, and open your eyes. Okay, let's come on over to all fours. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. As always here in cat and cow, just move as fast, as slow from the two positions as feels good to you. Back and forth through the spine. Keep going like that. I'll give us a little music. Take about 3 more rounds of the breath there in cat and cow. And then stretch to downward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Here in downward facing dog, find a more still position in the outer form. Really press evenly down and forward through the hands. Feel that sense of connection and lift in the gut. Press back through the thighs, down through your heels. On an inhale, come forward to plank. Line up shoulders right over the back of the wrist. Look a little bit forward, top of your push-up. All of your strength and connection. And then add a push-up, down and up. And then all the way back to downward facing dog. Keep going like that. Do about 4 more, so about 5 total push-ups. If you choose to go faster, you could get in a few more. You could also hold the plank rather than doing the push-up and use your toes or your knees. Just a few of the many options and variations. So there's enough softness, there's enough hardness to balance out here. Stay down on the mat now, so lower down and lie onto the belly. Reach your hands back behind you, palms up to the sky, and lift everything that you can up, locust pose. Exhale, release down and push to child's pose. Hips back towards your heels. Come up to your fingertips, lift your forearms, elbows, upper arm bones to the sky so there's a little room and space. And then walk both hands over to the right side for this twisted, reaching variation of child's pose. Walk the hands across the center and over to the second direction. And then walk the hands back to the middle. Come up to all fours. Lift your right leg up and back in line with the spine. Bird dog. Opposite arm and leg lift here. So lift the left arm. We've been playing with this one a lot this month. I want to make some movement with it here. Pull the elbow and knee in, and then extend. Do it 2 more times, elbow and knee in, and extend. Elbow and knee in, and extend. Keep the left arm up and switch to the left leg. So you change, same arm and leg. Square the hips and shoulders still down towards the mat as much as we can. And do that same pull in. So how does the balance have to change? Where does the weight shift? Do it 3 times here. In and extend. In and extend. Lower the left hand. Keep the left leg up. Now, right arm. We're back to opposite arm and leg here. This one's usually an easier balance. Pull it in and reach out. Pull it in. Reach out. 1 more time. Pull it in. Reach out. Lower the left leg. Lift the right leg back up. Same arm and leg. Make the subtle adjustments to keep you balanced. And then pull in. Extend. 2 more times. In. Extend. In. And extend. Arm and leg down to the mat. Cross at your calves and sit back on your feet. Push your hands down and try to lift up as much of your body as you can. Ready? Push down, hop up. Do it 1 more time. Push your hands down and lift. And then switch to the other leg on top. Ready? Push the hands down, lift. And do it 1 more time on this side. Hands down, feet up. Sit down onto your bottom. Roll all the way to your back. Legs up, hands up. Try to make your hands touch your feet. So a little crunch there in the upper body. Hold this here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sit on your hands now. Head down, shoulders down, and lower your feet until they're, maybe a foot above the ground. Big squeeze in the glutes. Maybe lift head and shoulders up so you're kind of in this long boat pose. And I just want you to hold this here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug your knees into the chest. Good work in the core to get us going. Rock all the way up. Just stand up. Use your hands, whatever. And lift the arms to the sky. Here in this big reach up, make the hands clap. Clasp at your thumbs and reach to the right side. Push your hips away from you to the left. Squeeze the top arm up towards your ear and extend the bottom arm even more. And come back to the center. Reach up and over, crescent shape to the second direction. Remember to squeeze your glutes and press down into your feet. Inhale, come back to center. Chair pose, Utkatasana, bend the knees into your thighs. Lift the chin a little bit so that you're looking past your fingertips. Sit a little lower. We've got this. And then lower the hands to more like shoulder height and sit even lower. Start to change your gaze so you're looking at your knees or toes. Last little bit, interlace your hands behind your back here. The elbows can bend a lot. Try to squeeze the elbows in towards each other. And you either stop there or straighten the arms and send them up towards the sky for a more intense shoulder opener. On your next inhale, release the hands, stand up, arms to the sky. Pick up your right leg, set it against the left leg in tree pose. A little rapid fire here. Right leg pushes into your left. If you want to use your hands, use your hand to help it stabilize a little bit more. It's how much nurture do you need for this pose do you want? And take it right into eagle pose. Cross the right leg over. Send the right elbow under. Come back, hold on to the hands or your shoulders. Unwrap your legs, unwrap your arms, send them up to the sky. Place the left leg against the right for tree pose. Try foot against the leg and point the knee out to the side, the toes down to the floor. Steady your breath. And then cross the left leg over the right, sit into the thighs like Utkatasana with crossed legs. And left arm under the right. Be as up and down as possible in your torso, so it probably is more of a sensation of leaning back in the hips and the shoulders and the head. We uncross the legs, uncross the arms, lift both arms up to the sky, which y'all can't see off camera is us trying to balance with a 4-year-old just kind of trying to balance as well. Exhale, forward fold. It makes it a little funner. Inhale, half lift, extend from the hips out through the crown of the head. Step back to plank. Lower flat down to your mat. Cobra, peel the chest up, press down through the hands and the feet. Exhale, down dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips, up and back. From here, add on, lift the right leg up into the air for 3-legged dog. Like we did in those bird dogs, pull the elbow and knee in towards each other, so knee in, curl forward and do it twice more. Inhale, lift the leg up and back. Exhale, pull it in. Inhale, lift up and back. Exhale, pull in, hover and stay, and step it through to a low lunge. Come upright, hands to the waist, torso upright, and then lift the arms to the sky for your high lunge. Push through your back heel. Think of extending forward through the front knee at the same time. And then wherever your hips are sitting, sit up a little bit taller and change to warrior 2. Spin the back heel down so there's some space to rotate and open. And then again, rebend and sit a little bit lower. Bend the front knee more. Push more through the back leg. Stay here, one more breath. Cartwheel the hands down around the front foot and step back to plank. Add in a push-up. Tough love, do 2 more. Down and up, down and up, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg up into the sky, 3-legged dog, big fun lift. Pull the knee in towards the chest, hover forward. Lift up and back. Pull it in, come forward. Lift up and back. Pull it in, come forward. Step the left foot all the way through, come up to high lunge. Take your time. Nurture with your breath, your space. Arms to the sky when you're ready. And then from there, you lift out of it a little bit. Get that space to spin the back heel down. Extend the arms in either direction. Warrior two. Sit a little lower now. Look out over the front fingertips. Really come into the power and confidence of this pose. Rotate the hands around the front foot. Step back again to plank pose. And you get to choose what's best for you right now. 0 push-ups, 1, 2, or 3. I'm doing tricep push-ups, elbows straight back, hug upper arm bones to the side. And then downward facing dog. Walk your hands backwards to your feet. Walk back, back, back into the mat. Always one of my favorite nurturing postures. Ragdoll. Hold on to the elbows and sway a little bit from side to side. Let your whole body feel heavy, worthy of every bit of space. And then slowly roll up to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back a couple of times. And forward and down a couple of times. From here, arms up to the sky. Pull your right knee up and in towards your chest. And this is our big step forward. Take one or several steps to get into your high lunge. Lower the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Walk the hands to your feet. Do it all over again on the second side. Lift the arms up, left knee into the chest. Big step or several steps to get into the high lunge. Lower the hands, step back, down dog. Walk it in. Today, one more round, one more each side. Arms up, right knee up. Take your big step. That's it. Arms down, step back. Walk the hands to your feet. Arms up, left knee up. Step. High lunge. Downward facing dog. Stay right there in downward facing dog. Side plank, bring the weight onto the right hand, the outer edge of the right foot. Left foot can stack or step forward. Send your left arm up to the sky. Wherever your left leg is, do you want to keep it there or change it? Challenge yourself into tree pose. Everyone change to full plank. If the leg is in tree, you keep it there. And then switch hands, weight onto the left hand. Send the right arm up to the sky. If you're using that tree pose leg, left knee points to the ground. And then all full plank, 2 feet, 2 hands. Stay here for a breath. Lift the hips up and back again. This is the challenge. We just go right into it. Second side, left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Either stack the feet or step the right foot forward for your kickstand. You're in side plank. Stay there or take the challenge. Right foot into tree pose on your left leg. Side plank. If you're using tree pose leg, try to keep it there. Just change the hands and face the body down, full plank. Knee stays as is, point it down to the floor. Lift the left arm up to the sky. 2 hands, 2 feet to the mat, full plank. Hold the breath. Hold the pose, not the breath. Ay, ay, ay. Knees, toes, chest and chin to the mat, 8-point pose. Cobra, peel the chest up, press down through the hands and feet. And press your hips back to your heels in child's pose. Sit back on your heels, lift your torso straight up and down. Both arms to the sky here. All right, this is kind of a challenge. How do we stand up, keeping the upper body as stable as we can, just like this? I'm gonna move to tuck the toes, and then try to balance on the toes and stand up. Try your best. Come all the way up to standing, some way or another. Step the right foot halfway up. Warrior 3. I like to bend in the standing leg to make this a little more doable and work stronger stabilization in the outer right hip. Make like a T shape in your body, whether your bottom leg is straight or bent. Tap the left toes down to the mat and then lift it up. You do it 2 more times. Tap down and lift. Tap down and lift. Step all the way back, arms up to the sky. Upper body should be burning here. Lots of good steady work, just staying lifted in the arms. Step the left foot forward, launch yourself into Warrior 3, second side. Find the balance first. Stay with it. Breathe through it. Add the taps or don't. Down and up 3 times. Step both feet back to the back end of your mat. Lift up. Exhale, forward fold. That should feel nice. Stay in standing forward fold for several breaths here. And then walk your hands forward to downward facing dog. Friends, we go back, right leg up into the air, 3-legged dog. Pull the knee to the chest, hover forward. Step it all the way through to your lunge. This time, back knee down to the mat. 2 good firm pieces of foundation. Take the hands to your front thigh, lift the torso. Just stay and work here for a moment, gently allowing the hips to explore a little more down and forward. Adding the twisted quad stretch, if you lean forward, left hand to the ground. Pull the left heel in towards your seat. I feel plenty of quad stretch there. You can choose that bus stop or the next. Right hand goes back. Try to find hold of the foot. Connect the 2 pieces for a little more intensity, a lot more intensity in the quad stretch. And release, back foot. Like a runner's stretch or half split, send your hips a little back, straighten the right leg. Fingertips stay on the ground, or they could come to the waist. The waist provides a little more ease in terms of the space, but more work in terms of stability and balance. So it's all a play. Which one do you want to work for here? Okay, if you're like me, right foot is forward here. I'm gonna come all the way upright and then turn to use the side long length of the mat. Hips, shoulders right over each other. Reach the right hand out and try to hold on to your right ankle. It's probably a little awkward. You can choose to point your toes straight ahead or out to the side. I leave it up to you. Now with your left hand at your left hip, can you actually push your hips a little bit more forward so you don't end up sending your butt back? It's more tucked underneath you. And then long side body reach, then the left arm palm down overhead towards your right leg. Reach, reach, reach in this gatekeeper variation. Okay, we come all the way up. Face your right leg again. Just kind of work into it. Into the low lunge. And step all the way back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet. Let's see if we can play with that on the second side. Lift the left leg up and back, three-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest and step the foot all the way through. Lower the back knee down. Bring both hands up to the front thigh. Let the hips gently move a little bit more down and forward. Maybe it's this like rocking motion as we do so. Stay with that. Or add the quad stretch, right hand down to the floor. Just bringing that level down gives me more quad stretch. Decide if that's enough or pull the heel in. And left hand reaches up and around to find the foot. Give it one more breath here in the quad stretch. And then release the back foot. And our half splits and the hips back, straighten the left leg. I've got the left foot flexed, toes in the air. And then everyone, hands to the waist, bring the torso straight up and down, and then safely changing so you're facing the long edge of your yoga mat. Keep the left leg extended. Reach the left hand down towards the left ankle. Try to adjust to keep the leg as straight as you can. And again, don't sit back into this as much as you can. Tuck the tailbone under and push the hips more forward. And then right hand palm down overhead. Reach it as far as you can towards the left toes. I've got a lot of space between my foot and hand. In some variations of this pose, we try to close that space entirely. Today, I want to keep the torso pretty open here. And then come back up to your neutral. Find your way into the low lunge. And step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Pedal the feet. Come forward to plank. Knees, chest, chin, 8-point pose. Toes, knees, chest, chin goes down to the mat. Peel the chest up for cobra. Push back, child's pose. Give yourself a few moments in child's pose. Okay, lie it flat down onto your belly. Use the entire length of your yoga mat. Endless pose. Let's reach the right arm out in front and roll over onto the right side of your body. Try to be as long as you can in one line from the toes up to the hands. I'm going to prop the head. You could keep it down or prop underneath the hand. And your left hand should help you with balance. And then we do tree pose. Left leg now goes into tree pose on the right leg. So push the left foot onto the right leg. Try to point the left knee straight up to the sky. And this really, more than other tree pose variations, I find helps me accentuate that external rotation in the hip and really see where that's happening or not. Okay, we either want to keep this for endless pose or try to pick up that left leg, first two fingers and thumb, wrap around the big toe, and stretch the leg straight up towards the sky. Don't stretch the leg over towards your head, just think straight up to the sky here. Lower the top leg down. And lie back down onto your belly. Switch so left arm is out in front. Roll over to balance on the left side of your body. You can, again, keep the hand down or prop the head. And now it should be right leg going into tree pose. What we're trying to maintain here is balance on the side edge of the body, not rolling back to your butt, not rolling forward to the chest. I like to look down at the extended leg to keep my balance. You can play around though. And then again, you either keep the tree pose leg or wrap the first two fingers and thumb around the big toe. The leg doesn't have to go all the way straight by any means, but you start to straighten, straighten, straighten. If it does go straight again, we're not trying to pull it over towards the head. We're just trying to make the toes point straight up to the sky. Great core stabilization work in this pose. Again, endless pose, Anatasana. And release. Roll back to your belly. Push to child's pose. Give yourself a moment there. Soften, cuddle in, nurture the next pieces of practice. Get into some hard arm balances. So you want to take these couple of breaths to really nurture in the sweetness right now. All right, let's come on up to all fours. Get into it. Right leg goes up and back, left arm out in front. So we've seen this before. We're just adding in a couple of extra pieces. Elevated bow pose. Bend the right knee, reach the left hand, hold on to your foot, and lift the foot a little bit higher up. So opposite arm and leg, elevated bow pose. And today we simply release. Lower it down and give it a go on the second side. Left leg, right arm, opposite arm and leg, grab hold and lift. Try to keep the hips, shoulders faced down towards the mat, square to the short side of the mat. And again, release. Downward facing dog. As we've been doing, right leg up and back. Pull the knee into the chest, hover forward. Instead of stepping forward, shoot your leg out to the left. Lower the hips down to the mat. Keep the legs in an L shape for fallen sage. At first, lift the torso straight up and down, and then hover like you're in your low tricep push-up down just above the mat. Take a little snapshot in your mind of this picture. Lift the torso back upright. Push into the edge of your feet to lift your hips and change to downward facing dog. We do that same thing on the second side. So left leg up and back. Pull the knee into the chest, hover forward. Now shoot the leg to the right side. Lower the hips down to the mat. You can look back at your legs. Try to make them as much of an L shape as possible. You've got this full twist happening in the torso. And then lower push-up. It's that chaturanga position hovering just above the mat. Can you imagine if your left leg was resting on the right arm bone, how you would be hovering above the ground here? That's what we're trying out next. Lift the torso back up. Edges of the feet press in to lift the hips and step it back. Pedal out. So you know you've got one variation right there. You go to it a second time. Or let's play to get into that hovering arm balance. Right leg goes up and back again. Pull the knee into the chest. It all starts the same. Shoot the right leg towards the left side. Instead of lowering the hips now, bend both knees. Once you bend both knees, walk your hands back about a half a hand print. Try to connect now your right knee to your left elbow. Sometimes I play a little forward and back until I can get that snug position. Right knee against the left elbow, and how much body weight can that hold to lift you up? Feet off the mat, hands stay down. Go all the way back to downward facing dog. Let's get it out of the way. Second side, left leg up and back. Pull the knee into the chest and hover. Again, shoot the leg towards the right side. Can you bend both knees? Walk the hands back a little bit so it gets a little more compact. Try to place the knee and outer elbow against one another. First bit of work, maybe you're staying there. And then we're doing our best. We kind of, with physics, send the head more forward to get the feet more up. And it all walks out to downward facing dog. Walk the hands back to your feet to get the weight off of the hands. Enjoy that release in ragdoll pose. Lose the words for a minute. And slowly roll yourself all the way up to standing. Roll the shoulders up and back and forward and down. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Remember warrior 3, we're doing it again here. Step the right foot halfway up the mat. Bend the knees. Find your T shape. This time, bend the right knee enough that you can take your fingertips down to just graze against the mat. Okay, if your left leg is up, I want you to try to hold on to that left leg with your right hand. So it's like those hands and knees position. Opposite arm and leg. Just a little different way. Work with it. Try to hold on to your back foot. You've probably, like me, kicked it over towards the right side to get hold. And then the work is to adjust hips, shoulders more square so that your foot faces up towards the sky, the knee straight back towards the short edge of your mat. Twisted sugarcane pose. Oh, good stuff in there. Then get your way out of it. I'm just going to kind of find my way to the back of the mat. Take a breath in mountain pose. Second side. Step the left foot halfway up. Go to warrior 3 first. So build on the foundational steps. And that's always a good nurturing point. I think, okay, progressively, I've done this. I can do it. I do it again. And then fingertips to the ground, give a little more foundation. Okay, with the right leg up, extend the left arm out in front. And like is the best thing right now to stay and work here. Or you add that last challenge, hold on to the foot, square the hips, and try to lift. Use your breath. Twisted sugarcane pose, second side here. And then 2 feet down to the mat. Work your way up to standing. Mountain pose. Steady, stable, couple of breaths. Pull your right knee up and into your chest. Hold around the front of your shin. Y'all are doing great. Hold it here. This changes into elevated pigeon pose. Hold on to your foot and your knee. Externally rotate in the hip like you're opening up a book. You can stay with this hold or take your chest down. Fold forearms under the shin, calf. Or hold elbow creases around the foot and knee. If you're taking one of those second or third holds, try to keep the chest relatively close to the shin and bring the torso more upright. Every little quarter of an inch, you'll probably feel all of the work that it takes in the outer hip and the stabilizing leg. Slow and steady. Come back down, 2 feet to the ground. Give it a little bit of a shake. And try the second side. Left knee up and into the chest. And then we're going to change the hold. Same hand to the knee, opposite hand to the foot. And like you're opening up like a book. And again, you stay with that first hold or you change it to the forearms or to the eye of the elbows. Elevated pigeon pose. Yoga Hour sequence 4 that we've worked with throughout this month does not go easy on us. Take it easy though within the breath and your approach to each pose. Lower it down and give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, for the next pose, Galavasana, we need that same external rotation in the hip through a figure 4 shape. So with your right foot, place it in tree pose and then cross it over to the opposite side of your leg. From there, like chair pose, we sit down and back into the hips. And then like we did in that twisted sugar cane, try to drop your fingertips to the floor, which means you bend your left knee enough to get that fold over. Okay, from here, if all is still working, we want our right foot to hook around the outside of the upper left arm bone. Those two things have to like hook in. And then instead of being on fingertips, we got to get down to our palms because our hands are going to hold us rather than the feet for this pose. One way to do that, oh my goodness, is to inch the left foot further back with the heel up off of the ground. And so we're trying to hold here. Right elbow and knee connected. Right foot hooked around the left upper arm bone. Now, can you lean your head more forward and down to get your left heel up off of the mat? Maybe even shoot the left leg back away from the right leg. I don't have it on this side today. You're doing the work best we can, and then we crawl our way back up to standing. 2 feet to the mat, mountain pose, take it in. What do we learn? How do we nurture for the second side? Okay, left foot goes into tree pose. Most of my parenting advice, my nurturing parenting advice is like 1 step at a time, 1 phase at a time, just like when I teach. So you go tree pose, and then you cross the left ankle further over. You get that steady, you try out the next thing. And I think failing is a good thing. So you also have to not just stay with the safe option, but try some things that aren't going to hurt you, that just feel a little bit harder. Fingertips down. Try to connect in. Foot around the right upper arm bone now. Get the right foot back far enough away from you that you can make all of the physics happen. And as you lean forward, think Bakhasana, crane pose. Woo, I just went down in my head. And that is the challenge. You just play, you fail, you go back to it. Can you lift your right foot up? Can you extend it back behind you? Downward facing dog. Crawl your hands to ragdoll. Come up to standing. Mountain pose. Evaluate. Where are you? Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Walk it out to downward facing dog. Don't worry, good stuff here. Come forward to plank, lie down onto your belly, flip over onto your back. You made it down to the yoga mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Be happy in that little hug. We've still got some challenges headed our way, but right now, stay present, full, in just this very motion, this very breath. Soles of the feet to the mat now. Easy bridge pose, like glute bridge. Inhale, lift the hips up, squeeze the glutes. Strengthen in the quads, hamstrings and butt. Lower it down. Do it 3 more times. Inhale, lift up. I meant to say hamstring, glute strength. Lower it down. Do it 2 more times. Inhale, lift and squeeze. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift and squeeze. And lower it down. So when we get into full wheel position, I think a lot of people forget that it's still about the legs. And the spine has to come along with that. But if you don't start with that strong leg base, then we can't get into wheel pose, or it will create some unhappy crunch in the low back. So as we go towards wheel pose here, think of that same strength in your glute bridge. Let's do it again. Lift the thighs up, squeeze in the glutes. All right, so that strength stays in your legs. Then take your hands by your ears or by your shoulders, flipped around so that you can see your elbows up in your peripheral vision. Okay. You stay here and work here, or you press some weight into the hands, but it's really a transfer of more weight into the legs as you lift your head up and come to the top of the head. If the top of the head works, I like to go to toes instead of flat feet to help with a little bit more space. Lift as high as you can. Make the arms and the legs as straight as they'll go. Get the heels back down to the mat and your upward wheel, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Lift, lift, lift. And safely lower down. Tuck the chin to bring your butt back to the mat. Pause, take it in. What did you learn? What do you want to take? Receive, and then we do it 1 more time. So, glute bridge, nice and strong. Tone in the lower body. Remember, legs have to do the work here. Hands, flip to the head. See the elbows in your peripheral vision. Okay, how do I make sure most of the weight stays in the legs and doesn't go all the way into the hands, the arms, which makes this too hard? So there's a little bit of a shift, like butt more towards the heels to go to the top of the head, heels up to gain the space, and then lift. Once you're up there, keep transferring the weight into the legs, and that's how your arms get straighter. Strong squeeze in the glutes. Knees still over the center of your feet. And then come back down. And this time, hug your knees into your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. Always one of the hardest things for me. Take the palms out, T shape. Lower both knees over towards the right side. Don't try to pull, tug, just let them fall. See what you get. This a sense of twist and release from the work of that big back bend. Bring the knees across your center and let them fall to the second direction. Sending the body all sorts of good signals of calm and release now. We're into that cool down, stretch. You've done all of the difficult strength postures. Bring it back into the center. Hold on to just the right leg. Send the left leg to the mat. Stretch the right leg up towards the sky. Hold behind your calf or behind your thigh. Just a nice solid stretch here, not overly done. Keep the natural curve of the spine, which means there's a little bit of a lift along the low back, a lift of the neck away from the mat. Yes, there's an engagement of like belly in towards the spine and low back gets close to the ground, but it doesn't have to be a pushing of the low back down. And then lower the right leg, pull your left knee into the chest, and stretch the left leg straight up towards the sky. Great run at Yoga Hour Sequence 4 all month. Okay, and lastly here, bring both knees back into the chest. Much like you just did with one leg, but now we do two legs at the same time. Hold on to the calves more so than the thighs to create an equal stretch. If you're really into this supine forward fold, you could rock a little bit more to make your butt come off of the ground, and then slowly roll the hips back down towards the ground, and you'll probably find a more intense stretch through the back of the legs there. And rebend the knees. Stay with that close in, held knees to chest, or go to happy baby. Bringing the knees open, hold on to the feet. Inner thigh groin stretch there. And then I want you to rock up to a seated position and just take one easy seated stretch here, soles of the feet together, knees out. You don't even have to bring the heels that close in, and fold over. Think forehead towards your feet. Give yourself an entire minute in this folded Baddha Konasana. If you can, really extending the length of the inhale and the exhale in particular. Through the effort of practice, we breathe out through the mouth sometimes, but now as we cool down, can you breathe in and out of the nose? That simple ask, though it can be less simple to do, of breathing in and out of the nose, is a really wonderful, nurturing way to keep our nervous system more balanced. And from this position, we're going to find Shavasana. So friends, you're welcome to stay seated or lie down onto your back. Luna, you want to do Shavasana with us? Lie down. Relax the entire self. Stay steady. Attention to breath in the beginning so that everything else can sort of settle away. And then you can even relax that attention away from the breath and just simply be open. I always welcome you to stay here longer as you wish. For those ready to close this time of practice, find your way to a seated position if not already. As a way of sending real gratitude to yourself, those gathered for this practice, bring palms together and just kind of bow in. As a way of sort of elevating that gratitude and thanks, we'll close in the sound of Om. Please sing along with me, listen or tune it out. Empty out the breath here. Deep breath in. Namaste.